helping you lead a healthier life. This is CURES.
Welcome to the CURES Show, where we explore the cutting edge of wellness for our mind, body, and spirit. I'm Kara Sundlin. Financial stress is something that can really disrupt our well-being. And I think so many of us, no matter what background you grew up in or what kind of money mistakes you've made, you still want better for your kids. But in the days of buy now with one click, how do we raise our kids to have good money habits? Gregg Murset is the CEO of BusyKid, also a father of 6. He is joining me now to help us navigate how to create healthy financial routines. Welcome, Gregg.
Hi, Kara. Good to be with you.
Yeah, so first of all, other than being a father of 6 kids, what inspired you to create BusyKid, which is actually an app and a debit card and all these cool things that we'll talk about, but why did you decide to do this?
Okay, so if you take a dad of 6 and you take a certified financial planner and you put them in a blender, this is what you get, okay? This is what you get as BusyKid, which is, how do I get my kid busy doing something that's actually gonna matter in their life, right? That is what we've tried to do, is teach kids how to not only work and earn money, but once you get the money, how do you manage it in a good way, right? And not just like earn it and burn it, because a lot of kids love to do that.
Yes.
So that's what we've created, is something that we can help do that with.
I totally remember that growing up. My parents would say, oh, is that money burning a hole in your pocket? And I think it was.
Exactly.
Or as I got older, my dad would say,
Exactly.
Everything you make goes in your stomach or on your back, clothes and food. You know?
Oh, I like that. I might steal that. That's pretty good, Dad.
He would send me like Kiplinger reports, but I wouldn't understand what to do with them. So I think that's part of it. That's the disconnect, maybe, is we think you're going to learn this when you're older, or when you become a financial advisor, or after you've got, so I think a lot of us have these questions about how do we do this as parents. So I want to start with some of the basic questions that, I think every parent wonders, should we give our kids an allowance? And at what age?
Okay, so there's a big divide on this, right? There's like, do I give them an allowance? Do I not? Do I tie to chores? Do I not? Is it commission, or there's all these things. So at the end of the day, I've learned from 25 years worth of experience, talking to people who own businesses that are successful when it comes to finance. You've got to work to earn the money. Like, that's all there is to it. You can't go around it. So I think your house is a perfect ecosystem to teach your kids just that. Give them some chores to do, let them work, let them sweat, let them get some stuff done, and then the money comes. And once you can make that work-money connection, then that's where the magic starts happening. And what age does that start at? I don't know. It kind of depends on the kid, but I would say young, like literally 5 years old. I know that sounds really young, but 5 years old, get them busting it out, doing some stuff that's meaningful, right? Because they're going to be the ones making the mess anyway, so you might as well have them clean it up. Once they do that, then they can really kind of advance as they go.
Okay, so that's the next question. When we were growing up, sometimes you were just told, clean your room. Do it. It's part of being here. Don't be a freeloader. But yet, I think when I look at the app, BusyKid, it's great. You clean the room and you get a little like $5 reward or whatever you set. So should chores be tied to money, or you just say you do your chores because that's what kids do?
I think there's a combo. Okay, there's certain things that you're going to do around this house because you live there, right? I'm not going to pay you to pick up your shoes, right? Like, that's not going to work. But if you have that ecosystem, you have that place in your home, let them wash the car or mow the lawn or do the things like kind of up and beyond like the very basics, right? When they're really little, maybe you can incentivize them to do some of those things just to get into a routine and be responsible. But as they get older, give them bigger stuff to do, stuff that you're going to have to do, or maybe you pay somebody to do anyways, like, wash the windows during the spring or whatever. Give them those kinds of things that will challenge them, that'll get them working, let them understand that money comes from busting it out and making things happen.
So kids are so busy nowadays, right? I mean, they're in sports, they're in school. I do think when we were growing up, we were maybe expected to do more because we were home more. Now I feel like parents are going, oh gosh, I mean, they just got home and it's 9 o'clock. They've got to sleep. They've already done basketball.
They're
They've
dragging.
done tutoring.
Yeah.
They've done this. I can't make them
Yeah.
unload the dishwasher too. And if you ever want to see like a soul come out of a body, ask a teenager to do chores when they're tired, right? You know, I mean, I've seen that.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So what's your thought on that? Of like, you created Busy Kids, but are kids busier now? And does that mean we should be letting them off the hook a little bit with some of these other things?
Super good question. Like, we've heard that a lot. We actually created a specific feature within BusyKid. It's called auto allowance. So sometimes, maybe the kid's job, I guess, or work that they're doing, their chores, are the music lessons, the football, the this, the that, right? And maybe that fits in your family and that works, and you're like okay with just like giving them some money because they're doing all this other stuff. It doesn't fit into the traditional chore kind of thing maybe, but that's what they do. We actually set that up so you can do that. And guess what happens? Every Friday or every other Friday, auto allowance happens. So you can set it $10, $20, whatever you want. And that'll automatically happen. So this is a great way, right? Yeah. And so once that money comes out as an auto allowance, and just like anything in our system, it goes into these 3 big buckets. And that's to incentivize them to save a little bit and invest and share, give back to charity, something that actually matters, and then spend the rest on a debit card. So that save, share, spend philosophy is what I call a balanced financial approach. So every time they get money, be it auto allowance or chores or whatever, it happens like that, and they learn not to just burn it all.
Okay, so I have said that to my kids, like, okay, let's say they got $100 for Christmas money, and you're like, guys, you have to save 20%, you should give 10%, the rest of it's spent. Like, we say this because we hear this and we know that, but they've got $100 in cash and it just goes. So this is where Busy Kid kind of takes it, it helps busy moms, because just like our 401k payments, like, we don't know about it, it just goes.
Yes, and it's less painful, right? And so that's exactly why we set it up that way. Every time money comes into the system, we take that money and we divide it up or allocate it into those 3 buckets. Parents can adjust it if they want. We base it on age, right, when they come through the door. And as they get a little bit older, they're going to spend a little bit more, because that's just how it works, right? That's a natural progression. And I hope parents are like, hey, you're 15 now, you buy your own shoes. Right? They're $120. You buy your own shoes, you knock it out, you're going to wash the van, you're going to mow the lawn, you're going to, walk the neighbor's dog, do all that stuff, and then turn the table on them and let them start paying for some more of their stuff, because that's, real life. And so that's really important to do as they get older.
How do you handle the peer pressure when your kids come home? And I think I try to be okay with that. You have your usual, okay, well, that's great for them, but in our house we do this. But if those of us who are 2 parents working and all of that, and you probably could go out and just buy the shoes, right? Because they kind of need them, or they say they need them, or they say everybody else has them, and no one else has to buy their shoes, Mom. None of my friends buy their shoes. Isn't that a need? or whatever. Like, what do you advise for parents who are maybe in an age where not everybody's doing it the way you're suggesting?
Well, I think you either start bucking this entitlement mentality early, or you deal with it for a very long time. It's up to you. So I think that the faster you can get to a point where your kid feels like they're in it, right? They have some skin in the game. They're going to have to pay for stuff. I think the better off that kid's going to be in the long run. Plus, it's going to make them a more grateful kid. And a grateful adult. So I think that's the faster you can do that, the better. And honestly, if you have these conversations when they're younger, oh, everybody is getting this skateboard, everybody has these shoes, this backpack, this shirt, whatever, and they're name brand or whatever, and they're pretty expensive. And even if you can do it, it doesn't mean you should do it, right? Let them understand that, and maybe you want to go halfway. Okay, I've done this before. It's like, okay, I know you really want these shoes, and my heart really wants to buy it for you, but why don't we go 50-50, right? Let's go halvesies on this thing. Everybody likes a halvesies deal. And if you do that, all of a sudden they have skin in the game and you can feel good about it, and maybe it's a win-win.
Yeah, okay. So that would mean that they actually have to have some money. So that's where the
Yeah.
allowance comes in. And so that's why you're saying it's not really a hand me out. It's not just like a giving money to your kid, although it is. 'Cause,
Giveaway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that then you're not just giving them money so that they can just spend it on candy and stupid things they don't need and then say, well, I'm still going to buy the shoes and I'm still going to buy this and I'm still going to do all the needs.
Yeah.
How do we set that up? Like, how do we figure out the right amount for an allowance? I'll use my own kids as an example. I've got a 14-year-old right now. I told you he's a spender and a burner for sure. He just always wants something, and social media doesn't
Right.
help with that. You know, like I think he just gets
Right,
excited about buying things. You know, like he loves it if Amazon boxes are coming, like even if it's the cat food.
I get it. I get it. I kind of the same way. I like it.
You like
Yep.
it? Yeah, I'm like, he's like looking out the window. I'm like, oh, please. So sometimes you have those kids that are just like really, they want things. And I guess I've been told
Yep.
that's actually good. If they want something, then you've got a carrot and you can work with it. But I've struggled with, and I think parents struggle with, like, what's the right amount so that they're getting enough that they can earn it and actually be contributing? Because if I just did $10 a week, that's not gonna probably do the shoes.
Right. Yeah. So money motivates. You've nailed it. Okay. It motivates people. It motivates adults. It motivates kids. So this is why I'm not a big proponent of just like giving them the money,
Yeah.
right? Tie it to work. Now all of a sudden you're motivating them because they really want the thing, right? They really want that Amazon package to show up. So you got to get them, line their incentives so they are motivated to get the money. And then all of a sudden you're actually kind of growing an entrepreneurial kind of mindset for a kid at an early age. If they want something, they're like, man, if I want that, what can I do to go get it? Right? And that is really great. And that's a great thing to kind of nurture. So align the incentives and watch out, because what you're going to find is they're going to be like, hey, Mom, can I go wash your van? Can I mow the lawn? Can I clean the baseboards? And you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, right? And so if you align the incentives, watch out, because they're going to earn the money.
But how do you know what value to place on it? Because if you place too little, they're gonna be
Kara,
like, oh
I can
my
tell
God.
you're a cheapskate. I can tell you're
Well,
a cheapskate.
that's what I'm wondering.
Like,
I got like $10 or something, you know? I mean, so I don't know. Like, what do you give for? Is there a certain amount per age? I used to hear, oh, allowance, give them their age, but I don't know if that means per week, per month. I mean, how do you know what
that
to
was
give?
before inflation. Are you? That's not going to get you much these
Yeah,
days,
if I told
right?
him he was getting $14, you'd be like, please.
Exactly. So it totally depends on your family, your situation, the job that you're asking them to do. Why not even use this as like a negotiation, right? Let them learn how that works. This is a perfect opportunity to be like, start low and then maybe negotiate with the kid a little bit and let them understand how that kind of works too, because they're going to have those situations where they're going to get a job, they're going to be in an interview, they got to negotiate that. Why not let them learn that skill early?
So the allowance is tied, every bit of money on BusyKid. I love that it goes into 3 buckets. Some's going to charity, they get to learn to give. Some's going to investing. We'll talk about that in a moment. You had a great kid in Connecticut who's 10 years old. He's making thousands of dollars because he learned how to invest on BusyKid. I remember that story.
Killing it. Yeah. Amazing. From
Richfield. But then, so are we saying, let me just use this round number. Are we saying we're giving you $30 a week, or it's like literally you don't get any of that money unless you're doing the chore? Is it like learning? Is it learning management or both? Like, is there some like, hey, don't ever come and ask me for more. I'm giving you enough that now you're gonna have to manage it, or is everything tied to the chore?
Yeah, so I think different families do it a little bit differently. Most of them do chores, right? They earn money through chores, and that work money connection is great. Others use the auto allowance feature where they just give them a set amount every week or every other week, and that's it. No, regardless of where the money kind of comes from, it always goes into those 3 buckets. And we teach a balanced financial approach every time that happens. So a little bit goes into the invest and save area, then a little bit goes into share, and then a little bit goes on a debit card where they can spend. And that's where you have the real life lessons, right? Kids going out and swiping that card and having that experience, understanding, wow, when the numbers change on the screen, That was just a week and a half of scooping up dog poop in my backyard and bringing out the trash. Like, that's how it all happens, and that's how it crystallizes in their minds.
Okay. So I'll get personal with you. Like, how much do you pay for taking out the trash?
Oh boy, I'm cheap. I'm cheaper than you probably. I'm like, 50 cents, a buck to bring out the trash. It's easy, right?
Okay.
But if they're gonna wash the car or mow the lawn or trim some bushes, and like, I like to challenge them. And so those are bigger ticket items, right? So and
Yeah.
kids gravitate to the bigger
So
ticket items.
you don't do it by
sweeping
the hour.
floor.
You don't do it by the hour. You'll be like $50 to like, get every piece of leaf, and you're not doing it like, okay, I'll pay you 15 an hour. That's minimum wage. That's what my kids argue.
I like I like it. I like doing it per job because I want to see them get the job done. And if they can knock it out fast, great. It's incentive to get it done.
Okay, so you're more of a salary guy. All right, so I'm just curious.
I like just like, here's the job, here's what I'll pay, make it happen.
Great. Okay, so
And if it takes them all day, great. If it takes them 2 hours, great.
what about the psychology of money? We all have our stories that we come with. I was raised by a single mom, and she taught me a lot of a woman running a business, but there were like really great days and then really like not so great days. And so there was a lot of up and down. And then my husband came from a typical middle-class family. They worked, they put away, everything just was very stable, but maybe not superlative. So that's different. We all come from this. And I wonder, because I think sometimes parents, there's all those books, Rich Dad Advice or this and that. People think, I don't have the skills to give my kids these great habits because I wasn't raised with them. And they feel like, how can I teach something that I haven't been great at? I accidentally rang up my credit cards, or I've got this problem, or I didn't invest as much as I should have. So how do you talk to parents about teaching their kids really good habits, even if they have made money mistakes?
I hear this all the time, and you're dead on. Like, a lot of parents are like, well, how am I going to teach this when I kind of stink at it myself? I think the best way to do this is just set the stage by saying, hey kids, I'm not that great at this, and I want to be better, and I want you to be better than me, so we're doing this together. I think that's the best way to like defuse all that, right? Okay. All of a sudden you take the pride and the embarrassment out, and you're just like, listen, I want you guys to be better off, so we're going to do this together. And then what you do is you start being overly communicative of stuff. And let me give you some examples. You're out to dinner as a family and the bill comes, right? This is a perfect chance for you to say, hey guys, let's figure this out. This is how much it costs. What are we going to tip, et cetera, et cetera. All of a sudden their eyes are going to open. They're like, oh my goodness, it cost $85 to come out to dinner tonight. I had no idea. Or next time you're sitting on the couch and the electric bill dings on your phone, and let them help you pay it. And then they're going to realize, like me, we live in Phoenix. Our electric bill's $500 a month in July. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? This is a perfect way to just open their eyes to this kind of stuff. If you start kind of being transparent with these kinds of things, filling up the car with gas, tell them how much the tires cost. Like, all these things cost stuff, and you can start opening their eyes to finance, and then they're going to be smarter with it because they're going to understand how all this stuff works. So it's not that hard as a parent, even if you stink at it. Just start being more transparent.
There's also, a mindset of scarcity or a mindset of abundance, and that some people are just better. There's a mindset that's. I do another program called Better Money here, where they talk about the wealthier people tend to have different mindsets than those who struggle with money and have more of a scarcity mindset. How do we create that mindset of abundance, but also be practical?
Yeah, I think you just have to start early, let them practice, and make them get some good habits. Financial management is about habits.
Okay.
You think about it, like what are the good habits and the bad habits, right? If you're eating out all the time and blowing all your money, this is a bad habit, right? If you're not, this is a good habit. So there's this mentality of it all, and as you practice when you're younger, and you kind of train them up in that way, they're going to be smarter. Next thing you know, they're going to be like, I don't want to go out to eat. It's a waste of money or whatever. And this is a good thing. But it's just like anything. Practice makes perfect, right? If you want to be good at shooting hoop, you got to get out there and do it. If you got to be good at the piano, you got to play it. you got to practice with financial stuff. You're going to make some mistakes along the way, but you're going to get smarter and your mentality is going to change as you get experience.
So in the past, I think money was taboo. A lot of families didn't talk about it. There's other books written, especially with women, that they don't tend to be. A good friend of mine, Mika Brzezinski, wrote the book Know Your Value, because she said she wasn't negotiating the way that her male counterparts were because she was kind of afraid to talk about money. That was how she was raised. And so is it important that we not be afraid to talk about money in front of our kids? And what happens if they say, how much do you make? Do we tell them? Or
Right. That's a touchy one, because it's like, okay, if I tell them, it's either going to be shared with their friends or they're shared with their friends' parents or whatever.
Right.
So I think I don't know that I would exactly tell them, what you make, but I would definitely have those conversations often and be super clear. Like I said, be transparent, especially with how much things cost. I think it's an easier conversation to have than how much you earn per se.
Yeah.
But hey, say, if you start exposing them to like how much things cost, they're gonna start figuring it out, right? They're gonna be like, dang, we must make a decent amount of money to pay all this stuff, right? Because I'm doing the math in my head. This is a great way to teach them just by being more open and let them understand it. And don't worry about bursting their bubble. It's going to get burst anyways. You don't want them stressed out of their mind so that they're in the fetal position, but you got to expose them to this stuff because it's coming their way. And if you think you're going to protect them until they're 19 and then they're going to be a genius, it's not going to work.
Okay.
So just let it happen, and let it happen often and early.
So I love that Busy Kid is allowance simplified. That is your tagline, which sounds so great because this stuff is perhaps simple, but not easy. And so you've automated it, because with all the other things that we're doing, going to practices, going here, going, and they're like, oh, I got to remember to give him his allowance or something. So just tell us again, if you think, oh, I'm not very tech savvy, that seems really difficult. I don't want to be on my phone all the time or whatever. How does Busy Kid work? How does it become a solution for all of us parents who are already too busy?
Yeah, let me give it to you in like maybe a situation. Let's say you finally convince your kid to wash your car, and they go out and they do it, and they do a really good job, and you're like, man, this never looks so good, and I got to pay you. And what you'd want to do is you want to reach into your pocket, and of course you don't have any cash, because who has cash these days? We've made it so easy. You can literally pull out your phone, tap a few buttons, and you can bonus that kid that money just like that. So, and not only do you get them the money right away, but that money is going to be allocated into the buckets automatically, reinforcing a balanced financial approach. And so we've tried to make it not only engaging for the kids, but easy for a parent, because you're right, we're all busy, we're all crazy, and the time that we have is very limited. So make it easy and convenient, and reinforce that lesson every single time. Don't earn it and burn it. Balanced financial approach.
Yeah. So they can't move it, right? When it goes in the investment bucket, they can be like, I'm putting it over here to the spend bucket. They can't move it.
Yeah, it's kind of locked away, right? Now there is a setting where a parent can loosen that up, but initially it's locked in there, and that's exactly how we want it. We want them to understand that we allocate a little bit into each area every single time. And if you do that, it's an amazing thing to see them understand, oh, okay, that's how life really works. And that's how people with successful mindsets when it comes to finances actually do it. And so if you can reinforce that early, I like I said, I've got 6 kids, 5 have left the nest. And every one of them who have left, and the last one is very close, have had more than $10,000 saved up before they left the house. That to me is mind blowing. And it's not because I'm paying them $300 to wash the car. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
So this is doable by everybody if you start early and understand and practice this stuff.
Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. I could talk to you all day. I have lots of questions, but I know that, first of all, people can go to BusyKid.com, and I love the idea. I won't get too far into how you invest, but it teaches the kids that they can buy stocks, they can see it growing. I know the other kid we interviewed was like, oh, I learned that if I just let the money there sit there and do nothing, it grows. I mean, that's pretty powerful. And if they leave it a long time, as Warren Buffett has said, and Einstein, that compound interest is a miracle. So there you go. But
there you go. So that learning to invest is really important, and you nailed it. That's what they want. That's what we want them to do, is learn how to do it. I think it's best to help kids understand how investments work by letting them learn how to invest in something they think is kind of cool. Because if you're going to go right into mutual funds or exchange traded funds or something, it's going to be like, ugh, and they're going to get kind of overwhelmed and not think it's very interesting.
They can buy Nike or
every time
Apple.
a Tesla Yeah, if every time a Tesla drives by, they're like, "Oh, look at that," or they have, the Apple, AirPods or something they think is cool, whatever. Let them do that, and then all of a sudden, they not only have a company that they think is interesting, but they also have money in that company, and that's the magical combination when they can see it and like track it and watch it, and then they're like, "What's a dividend? I got a dividend? What's that?" Like, that's free money, essentially. And this is very powerful stuff. So let them get, involved in something they think is interesting and their own money, and that's the magic.
Okay, so I want to, before we run out of time, do cars in college. A lot of families need that kid to have a car nowadays. It was a big relief when my daughter got her license because I no longer had to pay someone else to drive her around while I was here. So I needed her to get a car within reason, faster than she would have been able to save for it. But we wanted her to have some skin in the game. But what's your view on kids getting cars?
Oh my goodness, Kara, you're not going to like my view.
Okay.
I think kids should have a beater, a junker to begin with.
Okay.
I really do.
What if it's not
safe?
safe?
It's got to be a little mainly safe and mainly reliable.
Yeah.
But it needs to be a piece of junk, because then they all of a sudden appreciate everything else much more.
Okay.
And more than likely, they're going to get in an accident or a fender bender, and who cares?
Yeah.
So let them do that. Let them, contribute to it. Maybe they need to kick in for the insurance or the gas or something. Whatever your family feels like is good. But junker, let them participate. Okay.
Next, college. Parents are stressed about college and paying for it.
They should be.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, right. What's your thought? Do kids have to help pay, even if you are parents who have good jobs and really, have this thought that my parents paid for college for me, I should probably try to help pay for my kids, and you realize, gosh, it's so much more expensive nowadays.
Yeah, I think, again, skin in the game is a good thing. I think it teaches them a lot. Even if you have the money, I don't necessarily think that it's good that you just bankroll the whole thing. They won't appreciate it. So let them, I think community college is a great idea as well. Can save some costs. Maybe they pay for the community college, and then, you kick it up to the next college, and then you start contributing a little bit more. Perhaps let's do that. I think if they have to contribute to tuition, they're going to be much more inclined to look at scholarships and figure those things out and work towards them, which I think is a very good thing. So again, align their incentives. Help them understand that if they have skin in the game, they're going to be more apt to go and figure it out, as opposed to just freeload it and live off you and not appreciate anything.
Right. You want your kids out of your basement. Okay. We are out of time.
Out and never come back, except to visit.
Okay. And to buy us dinner. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, that'd be great.
Greg, thank you so much. Everyone can find you at BusyKidcom. You can also follow me at Kara Sundlin, and I hope this was helpful to everyone. Have a great day and be well.